Probably the biggest tip I should pass on is never throw away your offcuts of gels, because I've got loads of them and they're all really useful. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. And this video, well, you might have guessed it, it's all about coloured gels. I'm going to show you two very different ways to use them. One where we gel a background to turn it into a nice bright colour, and the other where I put gel light onto a model for a really dramatic effect. That's going to be a load of fun. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're an experienced user of gels or whether this is your first time. Here's three really simple tips. Number one, make sure the gels you use are heat resistant, because flashes at full power really do throw out a lot of heat. Number two, make sure you fully gel your light. No white light needs to mix with the gelled light, otherwise you'll really dilute the colour. And number three, unless you have a really big studio, and clearly I don't, the choice of background will make a difference. To get the maximum colour to appear on your background, you need a dark background. I find grey is the best choice for my small home studio. Also, I want to try and avoid light bouncing around in my studio too much, so I put these black curtains up here to try and help a little bit. I'm going to get a few things set up. Whilst I'm doing that, you should be clicking on the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a video right here on Adorama TV. So let's get a model in, let's get some lights set, let's get shooting. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe is going to be the model for this shoot, and I've got a few things set up already. I've got a gel, so let's pop that onto my Flashpoint Evolve 200, which is going to be the light for the background. The first thing I actually want to set is my camera aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, because if I get those right now, they'll never change throughout this shoot. So I'm going to use my flash sync speed. For me, that is a shutter speed of 250th of a second, but yours might be slightly different. And an ISO, well, my native ISO is 200 for this camera, so that's what I'm going to use. Aperture f8, middle of the road. So I'm going to take a picture at those settings, but without any flash firing at all. And it might seem like a weird thing to do, but this is really important because what I've got is no flash, no picture. And when it comes to gels, you're only going to see the colour of the gel in the shadows in your shots. And this picture is basically, so far, one big shadow. There's one other thing that I've dialed in as well that's not going to change, and that is the white balance of my camera. Now, if you have auto white balance, there is a reasonable chance that as your colours change in your shot, your white balance can shift and you won't get consistency to the colour of your gels. So stick to a white balance. I've used the flash white balance, and then you're going to be okay. I don't know the right power, so I'm going to set the background light to 1/32nd power, and that's the only light in the shot. So Chloe's going to come out as a silhouette. Chloe, you're going to look in that direction. Silhouettes always look good in profile. Here we go. Let's see what 1/32nd power looks like. And what we get is light in the background. But the thing about gels is you don't always get the same colour from the same gel. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the power for that light up by 2 stops. So it's at 1/32nd power, 1/16th power is one more stop of light, 1/8th power, 2 more stops of light passing through the coloured gel. Okay, Chloe, here we go. And when I do that, we have a much more defined red colour. And just for fun, let's take this up again to 1/2 power. So that's another 2 stops of light coming through that gel. So now we have a very different result. It's almost pink in the middle, but it sort of graduates out towards the edges. So we have very different looks simply by changing the amount of light that we pass through the gel. And not all red gels are the same. So this red gel is different to this red gel. It looks different. It should project a different type of red light onto the background. And yeah, that is a much more intense red, which with a silhouette, I think looks really good. So I'm going to give Chloe a prop. There we go, have a hat. And if you're ready, let's take a few shots like this. Here we go. With gels, it's actually best to get your background set correctly, which seems backwards for the way you would normally work. But once you have your background color dialed in, you can then concentrate on getting the light right on your subject. So I've got a Flashpoint Explore 300 in a little softbox here, and this is the light that's going to light Chloe. The position of it, well, I've put it back here where I'm going to stand, so it's nice and close to me, because that's what we do as photographers. Is this the best place? Not necessarily. I've already metered this out for f8. Let's just take a test shot and see how this goes. Here we go, Chloe. So I've got nice light on Chloe, and the background, well, it's red, but if you compare it to a shot where the front light, the key light, didn't fire, you can see just how much redder and richer that background was before I added in the key light at the front. To try and maintain that rich red colour that I had before, I've moved the light, so now it's much closer. And I'm going to take advantage of something called the inverse square law, or light fall off. We have videos about that right here on Adorama TV if you want to learn more. So I've moved the light, I need to re-meter the light. So Chloe, I'm just going to pop this near your chin, and I'm going to get this back to f8. Little test shot. So that's great. Now I have light on Chloe. Yes, it's coming in from an angle and it's a little bit more edgy, but I quite like that. But the background has stayed that rich red color. Right, so that's everything set. We've got the lights, the background set. Let's take a few shots like this. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, here we go. I'm going to move the key light behind Chloe for two reasons. Firstly, it avoids any light washing out the background colour, and secondly, the results look fantastic. This time I'm going to change it around, so rather than lighting the background, I'm actually going to put coloured light onto Chloe. And I'm actually going to use two different gels to do it. So the first thing I want to do, just like before, is set the background illumination, which isn't this. I'm going to let the background drift to black. It's actually an edge light all the way around Chloe. Now, there's lots of ways you could do this, but I'm going to use a couple of strip boxes. So I've got one here, and I've got another one which we'll bring in over here. And I'm going to try and put them roughly equidistant between Chloe, something like that. Both of these have got gels inside, and they're very carefully attached, so none of the white light can spill past the gel. I get the pure orange colour reaching Chloe. Let's just take a test shot. I'm not going to meter this, I'm going to do it by trial and error. I'm at 1/64th power on both of these two flashes, which are both a pair of Flashpoint Evolve 200s. Let's just see what we get. Here we go, Chloe. And at 1/64th power, well, I'm getting light. It's definitely orange, but there's not much else I can say about it. So I need to come up quite a bit. Let's go up 2 stops, 1/32nd power, 1/16th power, and we'll try that. And that's great. So now we have orange light on Chloe. We have a black background and we have some shadows. And remember, you can only add colour to the shadows of your picture. So now I'm ready to light Chloe. I've got a blue gel firmly attached to the inside of this softbox. And I've taken off the outer covering because I want it to be a little bit more specular in its lighting, which is another way of saying shiny. And well, that's the whole purpose of this shoot. So that's going to go up there. Now, the position of this light is really important because remember, we can only light the shadows with colour. So this has to go where the shadows are. And because we've got the lights around the outside giving edge lighting, this light has to go in the centre. That's where the shadows are. Now, I could take a meter reading for this, but this isn't a kind of shot where you want to be exact. You want to really look at it and judge the results on what you see. So let's do exactly that. Let's start, I don't know, round about 1/4 power. Let's see how that goes. Okay, Chloe, here we go. Now, 1/4 power, I'm going to say that is correctly exposed on Chloe, but not the look I'm going for. That's not the idea. So I'm actually going to take that light down. Let's go down 2 stops. Let's go down to 1/16 power and see how that feels. And this really is about how it feels rather than actually how it meters. And that is looking pretty good. I'm looking at the specular highlights. I want those shiny little highlights to come through. And if it's all too bright, we don't see them. Okay, so everything is set. So let's take a few shots like this. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, here we go. So my shoot might be over, but the work isn't, because there's a bit of post-processing to do on that last set of images. So I took them into Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom and gave a little bit of an increase in contrast and then really dropped the texture down for dramatic effect. A tweak in clarity, a bump in saturation was required as well, and then it stepped back and looked at the images and they needed a little bit more of a lift in the highlights, and there you go, final picture completed. There's a whole variety of gels out there, from just square sheets to ready-made pre-cuts. They all do the same thing. They can all transform a fairly drab grey background into something truly exciting and colourful. I've got loads of gels in the studio. I wouldn't be without them. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or you've got any questions, leave me a comment below. Click on the bell icon and you'll never miss a video right here on Adorama TV. And of course, remember to click on that rather colourful subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.